Good day, everybody. This is Audrey at the Creator's Attic. Today I was just really wanting to share an exciting project with you that I'm doing, and today I'm going to be using some wallpaper. I have this book of gorgeous wallpaper that is old, as you can see on the back. It's very old, but it has some very beautiful, colorful, and then all different types of prints in it, and it has these beautiful pages that match each other. Like this pink goes into this, and then they also have this that matches, and it just goes throughout having this. It has it in different colors and soft blues, as you can see, but I wanted to go ahead and play with some of this. And if you're looking for wallpaper, I have some in my shop. I have samples from different books. So it's on Etsy, the Creator's Attic. So anyway, I wanted to work some in my journal today. And I had an oopsie with my, let me see if I can pull you back some so you could see. An oopsie with a page. I put something down and I decided I didn't like it, and then so I was going to do the old coveroo on it. So this book is a little bit bigger than the normal journals. This book is approximately 7 by 9. So what I decided to do was to take this background paper, and I have already measured out a little past 7 by 9, and then I wanted to cut it, but usually I use my guillotine for things like this, but I can't today because, well, it's actually in the book, and it's very hard to try to slide. You can't really slide these books under these thick wallpaper books under the guillotine. It's very difficult. So what I decided to do was use my straight ruler and just kind of put it where I put the lines, and then use my craft knife. But then again, I thought, let's see, let me find my craft knife. Here it is. Okay. And it's the ones with the retractable blades like this that you can break off and make, when it gets dull. So, and have a sharp blade. And I love these retractable blades, and if you need more blade, you can always push it out a little bit more, but anyway, I don't want to get off too much on my retractable knife. So anyway, what I figured I would do would be to cut, like I said, along here using my ruler on the marked out lines. Now the problem is I don't want to cut through onto another beautiful piece of this wallpaper, so I've decided to put down something to kind of safeguard, which is just some cardboard, and then I'm going to do the cut. And what I'm going to do is lay this down. I don't know if I just said this or not, but I'm going to lay this down on, and I'm going to glue it on the back, and I'll do that with you. But then I'm going to use some other things to do a beautiful belly band that with the accompanying wallpaper patterns, and then I'm going to show how I do these beautiful appliques. This one was just sprayed with coffee dye, and this one is just the way that they came. And I have several other pieces that I have put together that will go beautifully with this wallpaper. So I'm going to just go ahead and do this, and I may have to move you to my other craft table to do some more crafting. So I gave myself a little extra room in case I needed to straighten this up some on my guillotine, in case it wasn't exactly straight, but we're going to go for it. I'm going to go down. Okay, and I have a line here that I marked, so I'm going to go down. And the integrity or the strength of this wallpaper is actually, let me make sure that I'm not cutting through anything. Okay, I'm not. Okay, so you maybe want to double check. Of this wallpaper, some of it is so old it'll crumble and tear. And this kind of wants to do that a little bit too, but reinforcing it with the glue will be very helpful, because it'll be down on the actual journal page. And I'm using some coffee dyed journal pages that I have, that I did. This book is all coffee dyed pages, and then I'm going to cover them as I want to with different things, or leave them plain. I'm going for an older fashioned looking, a little bit older fashioned looking. I'm so bad with this craft knife. I'm supposed to keep it straight flush. I'm still getting used to using this. Okay, so see, I had a yucky here, so I'm just going to go straighten this out with my guillotine. Plus, I want to make sure that I don't need to trim any more off of here, because I want this to come down. And if you can kind of see where I have done with, like, this wallpaper was absolutely gorgeous. And then I had this old antique handmade lace. But see how I didn't put it quite to the edge. Let's see if I've got to have you in. Okay, it's not quite to the edge. And I allowed myself a little bit of room here underneath. If you see underneath the lace a little bit, there's a little bit of space. So I don't want it to go too thick into the spine, because I don't want to make it even bulkier. So let me check the dimensions, and I may come down just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to run and cut this in my guillotine, and I'll be back. So I'm going to see, I've just left you my page, my journal's just decided to do what it wants. Okay, I measured a little bit, and you can cut too much, and it'd be too short, or you can have it a little longer and just work it in there. And you may have to do this with some of your pages. I'm going to see if this is going to work. I wanted to put it on this page to cover up where I pulled something I didn't like up. So that'll cover this wonderfully, and it will stay in fashion. Okay, I'm going to shave just a little bit more off, and then a little bit more here, and then I'll show you what I'm going to use for the belly band. I'm sorry I don't have a pause button on this phone, or I would pause it for you, and I'm not quite sure how to edit yet, so I will be pausing a little bit too, so please just bear with me. It doesn't take very long for me to do this. And think about, if you have any wallpaper, or if you've ever wondered a way to use wallpaper in your journals. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways in this video. So let me cut down. I think I just need to cut just a little bit more off on the edges. Okay, so let's see. Yes, I think that'll be a great fit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off what I want to use for my belly band, and I'm going to be putting the belly band down, and I want it probably about this long, which I'm thinking about 2 inches. Yeah, that's about 2 inches wide. I'm going to cut it just about 2 inches wide. And then that way I can slide some pretty things underneath it. I have some beautiful old ephemera in my store, and ephemera kits, and I'm going to be wanting to tuck some of my personal ephemera that I have like that out. Oops, see, I almost got through that. But I'm going to flip it to the other side when I use it. I'm glad that I didn't put too much pressure. Okay, I want to use this as the belly band, and I already know that the height of my page is 9, so I'm going to just measure out 9, and this ruler is is great for cutting, but sometimes I like to use this softer ruler because it allows me a little bit more room to do this. So I don't want my belly band to go all the way to the top. So I think I'm going to try to leave about 1/4 of an inch on both ends. So that would make it about 8.5. So slide this down here. And I'm just going to start from the edge of the page because we know that's straight. So that's really good to know that you have that in the guillotine process or whatever process you're wanting to do. And so remember now too that when you use a pencil on this, you can always erase the pencil off the wallpaper. But it's good to see the picture for me a lot of times when I'm doing the cutting here. And then I'm just going to go across. Well, I'm not going to use I'm going to use my straight ruler for that. So I'm going to come down, and you can't really see what I'm doing. I apologize. I get so excited with what I'm doing sometimes I may leave you out of the frame, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to come down, and I'm going to do the 7, not 9. Okay, and I'm not doing but 2 inches. Get it? I need to get it together here. I'm going to allow myself a little over 2 inches in case I do some wonky cutting. And let's see. So we're going to come out. I think I want a little more than 2 inches. I think I'm going to go with 2 1/4. So I'll go a little over that so I can straighten some edges. I'm going to go 2.5. That way I can be, safe than sorry. Should probably use this. I won't fit in there. My phone holder is in the way. Okay. I know I'm not measuring straight, but I know the width. Okay. So I'm just going to go down like this. Give or take for accurate. It may not be the most accurate thing in the world, but you can also just cut this out with scissors and then use your guillotine or other device cutting device, however you want to do your paper trimmer or whatever that you want to use. So I'm going to go across and then I'm going to come down. Okay, so that's not the straightest thing. So what I think I'm going to do this time, instead of using my craft knife, which I'm still trying to master, I'm just going to use my scissors and just cut along this lines because I did allow myself some room to cut down to the size that I wanted. So cut this out. And remember, there's always a button on your YouTube option that if you go down and there's a little cog-looking wheel, I believe, and if you go and you click on it, it'll give you playback speed. So if you want to speed through these parts, you can, and then you can go back to regular speed or whatever speed you're watching me on. So anyway, okay, so I have this, and I cut it somehow too short. Maybe not, because I'm probably going to put something across here. Let's see, that's a little too short. Now, how did I do that? Good grief. Okay. I must not have measured properly. Okay, we're going to try this one more time, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to come up a little bit more. So I'll be cutting from over here. So I'm just going to use this kind of as my template. Like I said, I can straighten this up on a paper trimmer or whatever you have. Or if you're a good cutter, go for it. So I'm not going to measure that again with 2 inches. I'm going to use this as my 2-inch template, which is a little over 2 inches, so I can straighten it out. So we'll just come down here and follow this. And we are going to see if this will work a little bit better. I may even give it a little bit of extra height. So I don't think that's very straight. So If you don't have a guillotine, it is probably, I would say, one of the most useful things that I have in my craft room. I love it because if you like to, if you're not a straight cutter, you can do so much cutting, and it's so, like, once you get one from, besides if you have a paper trimmer, invest in a guillotine if you really decide that you like paper crafting, because I'm going to tell you, it changes your whole perspective on your crafting. And this eraser is kind of not the best eraser on this pen, so I'm just going to go ahead and see it'll erase off of your wallpaper. And I'm going to check before I trim and see how I did here. That'll come off a little bit better, but I'm just going to see how it goes. And it's too wide, so the only thing I'm going to do is just make sure I trim a little bit more off. So I'll be right back. Wait. Should I do it this way? Should I do it this way? I think I'll go this way. I really cut this like really wonky, so we're just going to kind of hope and pray for the best here, as far as being straight. And if you're not one of those that worries about things being just perfectly straight, you're probably gonna save yourself some sanity. Okay, so that's a little long. Be right back. And I could have used the other one if I'd wanted to, but that's gonna reach a little bit like what I wanted. Okay, and I'm gonna move you over here so we can start playing it on the actual page. Okay, so I went and trimmed down just a little bit more. I'm gonna finish erasing this if I need to, but I'm going to move my camera across here to my other workspace. So if you will just, I wish I had a pause button on this, but I don't, so we'll do the best we can. I'm going to try not to make you seasick. We're gonna move over here. And my craft room is, I kind of clean my craft room up over Christmas. After Christmas, I closed my Etsy store down just long enough, you know, taking a break so I could have some time to put another video on. It has been quite some time, but I got hit so hard for Christmas with Christmas, and I mean, I absolutely love all of you that if you're watching this video and you are one of the people that contributed, I really appreciate it. All of my proceeds go to helping run a cat rescue, or what I earn on Etsy goes, most of it goes towards the care of my kittens and cats that I have, because we don't have a rescue place here. All we have is the pound, and so to speak, and I don't like the idea of the kill shelter, so they kind of just migrate here, or either people, you know, bring them in and that can't take care of them. And it's so sad. A lot of people around here just move and leave their cats, and they come up. So my Etsy store greatly. It helps greatly support my Etsy store. Okay, so this is, I just got a self-healing mat for Christmas, and I haven't used it yet because it was a little warped, so I stuck it under my rug. I stuck it under my rug in my in my room, my big heavy Oriental rug. So, okay, so I'm just going to take, I usually have another mat that I use as my glue mat, or either I just use an old magazine and glue on that. And I think the closest thing to me is going to be my magazine pages here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a page, and then I'm going to take my Scotch Create glue stick. Let me make sure that you are back. Apologize for the movement, but I have a limited, like all craft rooms, most of them, there is a limited amount of space. I don't know about you, but sometimes I dream of a bigger space, but then I would think I would have to probably walk more, and good grief, if I don't know how much more I really need for my crafting needs. In my craft room, I'm pretty well set, so to speak, with my crafting. Now what I'm going to do, crafting supplies, but anyway, I'm going to get around the edges really well. Ugh. And don't be shy with your glue, but make sure you get around the edges very well, but also you need to make sure that you get over, I'm just going to really be generous with this glue stick. This is a permanent glue stick, and if I use my Fabrifix to keep it down, which a lot of people use Fabrifix, I find that it comes up easily. You can peel it up over time for paper like this. So when I can use my glue stick, or either my I don't use my art glitter glue, which is just like a white, a really nice white glue. I don't really use that because I don't want it to warp my paper, so I only use it, I have glue I use for special projects. And so this is one of those. Let me make sure I'm going up the correct way. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of fix this in. Can you see? Not really. Let me move you up. I know you're tired of moving this up. My arm will only move so far up for me, but try to get you in frame at least for most of this so you can tell what's going on. I'm going to make sure I get it to my page, and I have just a minute to slide it around if I want to on my page before this will adhere. But this stuff, if you make sure you cover all the page so there's no bubbling up, all the edges are around, and then down through here, you use my finger and just go along the edges really well. And then I'm going to come in with something. You don't have to do this, but I have a brayer, and I like to just do this. Because it just kind of covers out, smears out that glue too. Or underneath it maybe helps it spread just a little bit more, and then it makes the page even as well. And if you don't have one of these, you doing this will be fine, but the brayer is a little extra, has a little bit extra support here. So and you can always come in with something, another type of glue if you want, and do this. So I apologize I'm moving you around, but this is going to be a lot of fun now that we have all of the work out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and there is still plenty of room. It's not too busy, and I decided to use this part as the back because I'm going to be covering a lot of it up when covering it up when I stick things in the belly band. And in case you don't know what a belly band is, you glue it on both sides, which we're gonna do, and then you can slide things in and out, so you can put in things that you want people to remove. You can put in paper for people to pull out, paper that people can pull out and journal on. You can put in ephemera. You can put in old magazine pages. You can put in pages that you've made yourself. You can do all sorts of things and put them in the belly bands. And I really like that. And because it gives you an alternative to paper clips and tucking things in like that, and the paper clips. So you have some alternatives, and you're not always putting a side tuck on or a triangular. I like to do triangular edges like this so I can tuck whole pages in, but we'll get to that on another video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to glue the edges. So this is what you want to do if you've never done one of these. Just come in and I'm just going to glue the very edges of just the ends down. So let's do that. Let's glue the edges down. Make sure you get some good glue on there. And so I only have it just a little bit, so there'll be plenty of space to do so. And I'm about to recap my glue stick. And since this is so close to the edges, I apologize. I'm trying to move you up. This is about as much as I can get you moved up. So, all right, I'm going to just put this down about center, or about, you can put it wherever you want. If you want to put it on the side, that's fine. There are no rules, right? It's your book. You can do whatever you want. And if you mess it up, it's paper. Sometimes we can't always replace that paper, but we do. We can just use a different kind of paper and just go on about our merry way. So pull this up and kind of do this down, and then I'll have a little bit of room to put things in here. In the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and decorate my belly band, and I really don't want to put anything else on the edges because I don't want to oh, I do know that I can't believe I didn't do this before. You don't have to do this step, but if you want to, it does help. And in my excitement of getting this project done, I totally forgot that to ink around the edges. And one thing is this kind of is framed anyway by the coffee dye. I don't know if you can see the edges, the coffee dyed paper. But I'm just going to come in with some gathered twigs distress ink. I prefer this when I'm for projects like these because it gives, to me, it's a little bit more authentically brown. I'm left-handed, but I'm going to try to be right-handed here for a moment. I'm going to just try to come in and do a little bit more because I'm a little bit more of a look. And sometimes if you want to really add some authenticity in here, you can come in a little bit more in certain places, and it gives it that natural aging process a little bit more natural instead of just all being uniform around, and that adds a little bit more personality to it. And you think about where it may start to age over time, and it may be in the corners here. So that's always a fun thing to experiment with where you're putting your ink, because it doesn't always have to be on that side. So let me see if I have you in. I should have done this prior, and I totally forgot. So we're going to just come in, and we're just going to fix that issue here. And I'm not worried, like I said, it's not an issue, but just come in and kind of fix that. Here, I don't really have to worry about the side. We're not really looking at the side. It kind of goes into the spine a little bit. So now I have this. And if I wanted to come along the belly band, I don't want to pull it up. I may put something. You can put something underneath it to kind of keep it up. It came up. Okay, we'll re-glue it down. It wasn't quite dry. It may just go back as it is, but going to kind of go around, switch hands. Fortunately, I'm a pianist, and since I use both hands, I can kind of gotten used to some, I guess some of the doing things right-handed or switching things, so that's hands, so that's kind of a blessing in a way. So let's see, come along here. Okay, maybe I want to smudge it up a little bit throughout here, would make it look a little bit smudgy. Just be careful when you go to do the smudges that you don't, if you're doing it with your dauber, which I usually use makeup sponges, that you don't come down here, this is your dauber, and come down flat or to the side too much, because it'll leave the circular patterns on there. And I mean, if you're not picky about it, that's fine. But if you don't want those circular patterns on there, then I would suggest being very careful if you're using a dauber like I just did. So let's put this down again. And it's still gluing. It's still drying, so the glue was still wet enough to be able to pull it up. Now I'm going to, that looks a little bit better to me. So now I'm going to, there, I want to make sure you get in. I want to grab some of my appliques. So these are the appliques that I have. And these are not old. I have some beautiful old appliques that I should be using, but these are not old, but I imported these from China, which is very easy to do, and they actually have some beautiful pieces. This one is, they come in strands together, and you can just cut them apart. This one was done with coffee dye. I'll show you how I did that very quickly. This is my coffee dye spray, and I just put it in a little travel bottle. And I did a good concentration, and this will stay, water to coffee. And what you can do is gradually add the instant coffee grains as you want to get the darkness that you wanted. And I've already kind of gotten the darkness that I want with this, so you just have to kind of play around with it. And the beauty is, if it's a little darker and you want it a little lighter, you can dab on it before you spray it. But I'm just going to spritz it, making sure I'm not spritzing over here onto make sure it gets on the back. And then I'm just going to kind of touch it down, put it down. It doesn't take very long for these to dry, and if you have a heat gun, you can totally come in with your heat gun and, do this number. But for the sake of time, and you don't even have to do that if you don't want to, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to come in and just kind of put this one aside to dry, and just put it aside on the paper towel. If you want to use a little tray, I have a little something from, I think it was maybe to a sushi container I washed and just put aside. But these little, I'm always collecting little things and seeing if they work. If they don't work, then eventually I'll just throw them out. But it's part of the crafting hoard, So I was thinking I may use the white because it may pop out a little bit more, and then use I also cut these little flowers off. They came in a strand. I'll show you these quickly. They came in a long strand like this, and I just cut them apart. This one was white. This one is white, so you can pretty much do anything to the white ones that you want to. But I also had some in pink, and so this was this. And when I sprayed it with coffee, it gave it a little bit more vintage look. The same thing goes for this little blue one that I did. I had the same thing with the blue flowers, and I just sprayed it as well. So, but this one we're not going to use because it doesn't really work with our project. So I have this. And I could just do this and have a beautiful lace, or I could do this one and just have something in the center, and then maybe we could put something on the top and the bottom. But let's see. That's beautiful within itself, by itself, but I think I just want to do a little bit of layering here, and this won't add too much bulk to journal, and I made this journal in case I wanted to have a little book anyway. And so I don't know if I want to come up here later and do some little flowers, but right now I'm just going to center on the focal piece. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use my Fabrifix to this. They also have Fabri-Tac. It just depends on where it's sold. There's not much difference. They're both made by Beacon, and there's not much difference in the way that it's done, but I have it in another bottle. It comes in, and I just taped the label on there so I would remember what it was. Okay, so I'm on the back, which is not quite as done. I'm just going to come around, and I'm just going to use kind of the thicker parts of the glue. I mean, not glue, of the applique. And you don't have to glue the whole applique. You just want it to basically stay down. If you glue it too much, it'll get kind of stiff. But I'm using the thicker parts here because it won't have as much bleed through. So I decided to go with the one that was slightly coffee dyed, and I just showed you how I did that. And I was making sure. I hope I didn't glue the wrong side. I don't think it really matters with once I get this on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna glue this side. I don't know what side I want to use. So I want to use this slightly, because sometimes when you spray one and it lays it lays flat, you will have a little bit more color to it, and it still comes through, as you can tell. Either side is compared to what it was, either side. And you can use just the regular colors if you prefer. You don't have to use this vintage look, but that's the look I'm going for in here. So I like that too. I'm just wondering if it pops a little bit better from this side. But I really think that this is more of the front, so I'm going to put this side on the back. And we're not really going to be pulling on this, so I'm not worried about gluing the whole thing down. I just want to really get the center mostly. If it will stay, it'll stay. You may just not want to mess with it for a little bit. The wonderful thing about the Fabrifix is it will adhere fabric to fabric. It'll do paper to paper, and it'll do paper to fabric. I covered all of those. So it just does a myriad of different things. Okay, so here I have my belly band, and we can do some other things if we want up here. And I have some beautiful lace that I have. I have lace in my store, old handmade lace. I have that for sale in my store as well. I like the contrast of this a little bit. We could go all the way across the top, or we could just do the belly band. And I think I want to go all the way across the top. So I'm just going to kind of measure it out. I don't have to measure it out. I can just kind of do it in my head. And I'm going to grab my new, let me just grab my scissors real quick. I did get some new fabric scissors for Christmas, and they are super awesome. But these were close by. These are the ones I've been using, and I take a Sharpie and I have to write on different scissors. Fabric only, because I don't want them to get picked up and used for something besides that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a little bit off. And let's see. I hope you're having a nice and crafty day, whether or not you're just watching this or you're crafting along. I don't know really if you're doing exactly this, but you can always watch this and then rewind and do it along with me. And you don't have to use old lace. Like I said, this one wasn't old. This one is a natural off-white ivory color. So I think for this, I don't like to glue all over the page because it can seep through these things. So let's see, I'm gonna make sure I find the back. Okay, I think this was the back. This is just so beautiful. Can you imagine how long it takes these people to do such a thing? It's just absolutely blows my mind that these people just spent so much time with such tiny, tiny lace to make these pieces. Just shows, I guess, everybody was not in a hustle and bustle as much and as they are now, and a lot of people were able to stay at home and do these things. And I often wonder when I'm doing these how old the person was, how what they were doing. Were they doing it with a circle of friends when they were making these, or were they doing it by themselves, and how old they were, if it was a mother teaching a daughter, or if it was just a mother taking a little bit of time waiting for her clothes to dry outside on the clothesline, and she was just doing a little bit something else while she was waiting for that to dry, or maybe she was sitting out on the porch watching the children play. And you just think of all kinds of fun things when I'm doing this and looking at and admiring these pieces. So we have this across the top. Okay. Do I want to do some across the bottom? I'm not sure. I may just want to cover this up down here and just put a little bit of lace here, so it's just not, it doesn't have to be too matchy. I don't know. Really hate to use up the rest of this beautiful lace. Maybe I can cut it here to where it, yeah, does like this. Okay, a lot of people aren't as picky as I am. That's fine. You don't have to be. I don't want to use all of this up. I just love this. And it's like, once the piece gets cut up, you can't use it. I mean, there's no more ever like, this will never be again. You may find some more patterns like this, but it won't be that same person doing this. I mean, the likelihood of that would be insane, right? Okay, so I'm going to slide it a little bit more over where I want it. I kind of wanted to get the idea of the threes in, so I'm going to just glue. I'm going to start from here because I know I want to use that, so I'm just going to glue. I'm probably going to trim a little bit off on my left side. So, and you can kind of smear this around a little bit if you want to make it adhere. You can always go in and add some more glue. But I said I was going to use this. I put the glue on this side. Okay. Didn't I? Yeah. I was, for a minute there, I was thinking that I had put it on the wrong side. Oh, that's what it is. Put it on upside down. What the me? I only had a single cup of coffee this morning, so maybe that's what's going on. I want to kind of have this where I can have this one framed in the middle, but I have one on either side. So, and I want to decide how far over that I want to have it. And then I can cut the part off that I straighten it out a little bit. Maybe pick up the page and figure out where, and go to the bottom of the page if you want. Then you can just come over, and I'm going to try to use my all-purpose scissors here and see if it will cut through this without making it look chewed, because I don't want to get glue on my good scissors. I'm notorious for doing that, but I hope that this doesn't chew this. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. All-Purpose Scissors. So then we have this. So we can always put a little something in the middle, or we can just call it a day like this. For this purpose, for the purpose of this video, I think I'm just going to leave it as is. And this is a beautiful page in which we can put things underneath, old ephemera or handmade things. But here we have this. I'm going to let this dry, and whatever you do, I would suggest not closing the book until after it dries, so I would leave this open for several hours. So that's it. We could always put a little jewel here or something like that, but for the purpose, like I said, of this video, I'm going to leave this as is. But you can decorate your pages however you want with the wallpaper. There's so many different possibilities. This is just this is just 2 possibilities. So come over to my shop. It is on Etsy, and I can't think of my link, but it will be below in the description portion, or either in the comments. I will have the link to my shop. Come on over and explore, and just look around if you want. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a great day, and have a great new year. Bye-bye.